Welcome back from Washington this morning. Senate Democrats failing to pass legislation to reopen the government for the 10th time yesterday, ensuring the government shutdown stretches into next week. A House-passed bill to keep the military paid while the doors stay closed also failed in a Senate procedural vote yesterday. House Speaker Mike Johnson is warning that service members will miss their paychecks at the end of the month if there is no movement in the Senate. Sources telling me the Democrats have agreed to keep the shutdown in place until after this planned No Kings protest happening here in Washington tomorrow. More than 2,000 people expected at this rally. Joining me now is Michigan Congressman Bill Huizenga. He's the vice chairman of the House Financial Services Committee. Congressman, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too, Maria.
Thank you so much for being here. What can you tell us about this shutdown?
Wow. I mean, it's frustrating for us. I think it's frustrating for constituents and the American people as well, because this is absolutely avoidable and it's needless. This is really about raw politics. It's not about the policy. And as you were alluding to this, you know, these rallies that are happening around the country, I think that has really captured the progressive left has captured the Democrat Party on this. And look, Chuck Schumer has allowed government to shut down twice since he's been in the Senate. Both times
during President Trump's term.
I'm sure it's just a mere coincidence, right?
The first time was in 2018, the president's first term.
Yep.
And now this.
And now this, exactly.
So President Trump has been trying to move money around. The Pentagon directing $8 billion in fiscal year 2025 research and development money to pay 1.3 million active duty troops and National Guards. The Coast Guard likely being paid via the $150 billion defense budget from the One Big Beautiful Bill. That can't go on much longer. What happened yesterday with the bill that failed over military pay?
Yeah, well, again, it's politics, and I'll point out that one of my Michigan senators who sits on the committee in the Senate and voted to get the bill out of the committee voted no on the Senate floor. All right. So, well, clearly nothing changed. It wasn't the wording. It wasn't the verbiage. It was the politics surrounding it all. So, again, it just shows that the Democrats are willing to shut down government for any reason, for any purpose, really to go after Donald Trump. And that's as much of their problem as anything.
What a scramble. I mean, the OMB is also working on ways to get paychecks to federal law enforcement officers like FBI and marshals. How long can this go on?
Yeah, well, and exactly right. I mean, it's accounting gimmicks at this point, trying to keep it stretching. I actually have a piece of legislation, a standalone bill that would pay all the DHS employees. That's TSA, ICE, Customs and Border Patrol, Coast Guard. That being coupled up with a troop pay is a discussion. But here's the thing: we don't need that if we simply would have them vote for this clean continuing resolution, and that really should be the goal here, because you know, if we do this, Maria, right now, having a permanent change to policy contained within a temporary funding bill, we'll never have another CR, a clean CR, in my opinion, because our side's going to do it. My side's going to do it. The Democrats will continue to do it. This is that classic give a mouse a cookie moment, where if you are going to hold hostage government funding, even on a temporary basis, for a long-term, permanent $1.5 trillion spending spree, we're never going to get beyond that again if that's allowed to happen.
And that's why John Thune has said repeatedly, yeah, we'll talk about health care, we'll talk about the Obamacare subsidies, but not until the government's open.
Yeah.
They expire at the end of the year, but we're not going to be held hostage. But you mentioned a good point with regard to your legislation that you're putting together, because I feel like once TSA and misses paychecks and they stop coming in, you're going to see long lines at the airports. Yeah. You're going to really force some action. But you also recently introduced the No Budget, No Pay Act. Talk to us about that. This is bipartisan, and it is a legislation that would prevent Congress from being paid unless it does its job and passes a budget and all 12 appropriations bills on time. Why is this so hard to do?
I wish everybody could see the twinkle in your eye right this moment, because your reaction is exactly what I hear from constituents, which is like, wait a minute, so you guys are getting paid no matter what, right? And TSA agents, or whether it's FBI, whether it's our troops, they're not. They're at the whims of whether Congress is going to keep government open. So the 27th Amendment says that we have to have an intervening election in between any pay adjustments. Constitution guarantees that our pay is there. I think it's time to change that. We need to make sure that we in the Congress, House and the Senate, feel the same pain that other federal employees and, frankly, our constituents do. And we think it passes constitutional muster. It wouldn't go into effect until after the next election. But we've got to get serious about ramping up the heat on members of Congress to do their primary job. Their primary job, especially those of us in the House, where we have primacy with the purse strings, is fund the government. Let's have that debate. Let's have that debate about health care. Let's have that debate about all the other priorities. But let's do it in the proper context, not in a short-term CR.
Well, in the middle of this, President Trump is just doing extraordinary things with regard to global affairs. I mean, look what just happened in terms of the peace deal in the Middle East. Today, the president will host Ukrainian President Zelensky at the White House. He's considering whether or not to give the war-torn country Tomahawk missiles. I spoke with the president yesterday. I did not get a sense that he's going to send Ukraine Tomahawk missiles. But he spoke with Vladimir Putin yesterday. What's your sense of this situation?
Yeah, and I actually sit on the Foreign Affairs Committee as well, so I've been watching this very, very closely. And first of all, kudos to him, to Marco Rubio, and so many others, Steve Witkoff and others that have been working on these issues, all in the midst of this chaos. You know, specifically, I'm glad to see that he is forcing the conversations both with President Zelensky and then again going to Budapest to meet with Vladimir Putin. It's the right thing to do, and that's what actual leadership is. He is putting his own time and effort into this, and that's the kind of thing that has been absent over the last 4 years on the international stage.
You're right. The president said that he's going to do that meeting with Putin within the next 2 weeks. So we'll be watching that. Yeah. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much.
You as well, Maria. Thanks for having me. Welcome to D.C.
Thank you so much. Congressman Bill Huizenga. We'll be right back.